I'll never forget the sound, not the ocean, not the wind, the sound of my phone vibrating against the granite counter the very first night I moved into my dream home. I had worked half my life for this place. A cliffside villa, glass walls that opened to the endless sea, silence so complete it felt like I was breathing for the first time in decades. I thought I was finally free, but freedom doesn't last long in my family. When I answered the call, I didn't even hear a hello. Just a voice I knew too well. My sister, Clara, we're on our way. 15 of us. Get the beds ready, food too. We'll be there in 40 minutes. Then she hung up. I stood there frozen, phone still pressed to my ear even though the line was dead. 15 people. 3 weeks. I in my home. It didn't sound like a request. It sounded like an invasion. I should have panicked. Instead, a strange calm washed over me. The kind of calm you feel right before a storm breaks. Because deep down, I knew this was coming. Clara had been crossing lines my entire life. When we were kids, she snapped her fingers, and I obeyed. When she wanted new clothes, she raided my closet. When she couldn't pay rent, I wrote the checks. Tuition, credit cards, a wedding so extravagant it could have bankrupted me. I covered it all. Every time she whispered, just this once, I believed her. Every time, I told myself, family comes first. But standing in that villa, surrounded by unpacked boxes and the salt of the ocean stinging my lungs, something inside me shifted. This house wasn't just brick and glass. It was my sacrifice, my reward, my proof that I had survived decades of being her safety net, and now she wanted to turn it into her playground. 40 minutes disappeared like smoke. Engines rumbled up the coastal road, 5 cars deep, headlights glaring like a convoy of conquerors. I watched from the window as Clara's black SUV rolled in first, dust rising behind it. She stepped out in oversized sunglasses, arms wide, grinning like a queen claiming her throne. Lena, she shouted, because that's what she calls me. Not sister, not even my full name. Just Lena. Short. Convenient. Disposable. Look at this paradise. You lucky, lucky girl. And then the flood began. Strangers poured out of cars with coolers, beer, suitcases, beach chairs. Their laughter drowned out the waves. Their feet trampled my driveway. My sanctuary became a carnival before they even reached the door. I thought about locking it. Pretending I wasn't home. But before I could decide, the pounding came. Come on, sis. Open up. The door creaked open an inch. I whispered, Clara, I'm not ready for guests. She shoved it wide with a force that smelled of perfume and arrogance. Behind her, bodies surged forward, dragging bags, shouting over each other, dropping crumbs and sand across the marble floor I'd waited years to walk barefoot on. One voice shouted, check out that pool. Another, this kitchen is insane. I tried to speak. Tried to say stop. But they weren't listening. Or maybe they just didn't care. Clara spun in the foyer like she owned the place. My sister always knew how to live large, she bragged, as if my home was her trophy. Then she pointed upstairs. The master bedroom's mine. Best view. Perfect for my morning yoga videos. That's when my chest burned. That room wasn't just a bedroom. It was where I dreamed I'd finally rest. My private space. My proof I had earned peace. I blocked the staircase. No. That room is mine. Her sunglasses slid down. Her eyes locked on mine, sharp, daring. Don't be selfish, Lena. You've got plenty of space. What happened next was a blur of rage and clarity. Her friends cracked open beers in my living room. Someone tracked wet sand across my imported wood. Another woman squealed about taking selfies on my balcony. And Clara? She laughed. Loud. Sharp. Cruel. You don't get it, I told her, voice breaking. This isn't a resort. This isn't a free ride. This is my home. Mine. She stepped close enough for me to feel her perfume choke my throat. You think money makes you better than me? I'm your sister. Family always comes first. Not like this, I snapped. My hand shook, but my voice didn't. Not by force. Behind her, strangers pawed through my things like vultures. One popped a beer, foam spilling onto my hardwood floor out. I screamed. Louder than I've ever spoken in my life. All of you, out. The room froze. Even Clara blinked, caught off guard by my fury. But she recovered quick. She tossed her suitcase onto my bed like a declaration of war. You'll regret this, she hissed. You'll regret losing me. Something cracked in me then, not fear. Not guilt, but years of silence, finally breaking open. I walked out. Past the noise, past the chaos, into my study. Locked the heavy oak door. For the first time, I felt air in my lungs again. My phone shook in my hand. My thumb hovered over the numbers. Could I really call the police on my own sister? Then, shattering glass echoed from the living room, followed by laughter. Yes. I could. 911, what's your emergency? There are people in my house, I said, my voice steady in a way I didn't recognize. They refused to leave. 15 of them. They forced their way in. I need help. The operator's calm voice answered, officers are on their way. Stay where you are. 15 minutes. That's all I had to survive. Knuckles pounded the study door. Lena, Clara's voice, falsely sweet. Come on. Don't do this. We're family. Then, colder, sharper, if you go through with this, you'll be alone forever. Alone in this big, empty house. Her words cut deep because she knew my fears. But this time, fear didn't control me. I looked at the framed photo of our parents on my desk, the ones who taught us respect, kindness, boundaries. The lessons she had buried long ago, and I whispered to myself, better alone than exploited. That night, something ended between us. Maybe something that should have ended years ago, because family doesn't mean servitude. Family doesn't mean surrender. And peace, real peace, sometimes costs the people you thought you couldn't live without. So, if you've ever had someone treat your life like it's theirs to consume, remember my story and ask yourself, when the knock comes at your door, will you let them in, or will you finally say no?